President Trump's sweeping tariffs on Mexico and Canada are raising enormous concerns over how America is treating two of its biggest trading partners. And it comes as the White House further aligns itself with U.S. adversaries like Russia and its authoritarian leader, Vladimir Putin, all while shifting away from Ukraine and clashing with President Zelensky.
Joining us now is CNN's Fareed Zakaria. Fareed, thank you so much for being here with us. I want to begin with these tariffs. What impact will they have on Americans?
Oh, they're very significant. They're very substantial. So if you take American cars, the way over the last 25 years that the car industry has made American cars is to create an integrated supply chain with Canada and Mexico. What that means is some parts are made in Canada, some parts are made in Mexico, a lot is made in the US. The parts move back and forth. Because of the tariffs, every time an auto part moves, it gets tariffed. That's why there are estimates by Anderson, a consulting firm, that the price will go up maybe $8,000 to $9,000 for an SUV. So what you have is the North American car industry is now going to be discriminated against, and who's going to benefit? The German car industry, the Korean car industry, the Japanese car industry, because those cars will come into America tariff-free. It's a very strange, self-defeating set of tariffs because the U.S. has built over the last 30 years a really remarkable integrated economy with Canada and Mexico. It's in many ways more dynamic than the European Union. And now we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
President Trump, Fareed, has repeatedly accused other countries, including U.S. allies, of taking advantage of the United States. Why does he think this is the case?
Trump is a protectionist to his bone. It was his first political statement as a real estate developer in the 1980s was a full-page ad he took out in the New York Times where he talked about how Japan was ripping the United States off, taking advantage of the free trade system, how Japan was going to clean our clock, dominate the world. It is worth noting none of that turned out to be true. In fact, Japan went into a 25-year stagnation. The U.S., by staying open and innovative, actually was able to leap ahead. You know, the numbers tell you the story. In 1995, average Japanese citizen was 50% richer than the average American citizen. Today, the average American citizen is 140% richer than the average Japanese. In other words, we've done way better than countries like Japan that protected their markets. But he believes this stuff. And, so he finds any excuse. The excuse he's using with Canada is ludicrous. It's fentanyl. Canada represents 2% of the fentanyl that comes into the U.S., but it has provided Trump with what I assume is a pretext in order to slap tariffs on them.
Right, and you heard Justin Trudeau say that. He said it's a false pretext to blame Canada for fentanyl. So I want to go to another big topic, of course, and how Donald Trump is handling the war in Ukraine. European nations have been rallying around Ukraine since Trump and Zelensky clashed in the Oval Office. And meanwhile, the Trump administration has been aligning more and more with Russia. There's ample evidence for that. Is Trump's foreign policy essentially reshaping the world order with the U.S. no longer at the forefront?
I think this is going to have seismic long-term implications because, as you say, what Trump has now done is he's withheld military aid to Ukraine. He's withheld intelligence sharing, which actually is an extraordinary thing. It costs us very little, and it was crucial. It was the eyes and ears for Ukraine to fight its war, defending itself and its territory against Russian aggression. But what it really does is it will ask people, can the United States be trusted? This is a country, Ukraine, that we've been supporting. Really, we've been supporting Ukraine's independence since 1991. We supported Ukraine when it gave up its nuclear weapons, the third largest arsenal in the world. It gave it to Russia in return for Russian security guarantees that the Russians have now been violating for 10 years. So everyone is going to be asking, can we trust the Americans, or will they promise us one thing and then flip on us?
Fareed, take a listen to this clip of Senator Alyssa Slotkin's official Democratic response to Trump's address last night. Listen to this.
President Trump loves to say peace through strength. That's actually a line he stole from Ronald Reagan. But let me tell you, after the spectacle that just took place in the Oval Office last week, Reagan must be rolling in his grave. Donald Trump's actions suggest that in his heart, he doesn't believe we're an exceptional nation. He clearly doesn't think we should lead the world.
Fareed, is she right?
The way I put it is this: Trump believes in transactions. He's always looking for transactions. He's always looking for how can he squeeze somebody. And the people you have leverage with tend to be your friends, right? I mean, we have an integrated economy with the Canadians, so you have leverage with them. We provide protection to Europeans. We have leverage with them. We provide so much military assistance to Ukraine. We have lots of leverage with them. Trump doesn't have a lot of leverage with Putin. He doesn't have a lot of leverage with Xi Jinping. So the strange result of it is that Trump, is basically at war with America's allies and cozying up to America's enemies. And that transactional nature means that what he is missing is the United States has built a world order since 1945, not on the basis of individual transactions where we always squeeze the other side, but by building enduring relationships with like-minded liberal democracies that have now endured for 8 decades. And by casting a shadow on that, by maybe undermining it all, yes, he is in some sense furthering the cause of the autocratic, aggressive powers like Russia and China. Whether it's his intention or not, that is the effect.
Fareed Zakaria, always great to have you on and hear your analysis. Thank you so much.
In terms of what Donald Trump said about tariffs last night, he said that there might be a little bit of disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. I mean, a lot of people, obviously, especially economists, disagree with that. And we heard that speech by Prime Minister Trudeau yesterday, where he was very direct, pulled no punches in terms of addressing the American people and Donald, as he referred to him as. As I understand it, the Canadian Prime Minister and President Trump are going to be speaking today. Just walk us through what we expect. Will they make a deal? Give us your take.
I have no clue because the Prime Minister's office has no clue. Now, I will not recite to you and Bianna the sarcastic texts I got about this, even when it comes to the time of the call.
But why not, Paula?
So we're protecting sources here, okay? Yes. Suffice it to say that you can look at what the foreign minister said on the record. Melanie Joly, quote unquote, the instability and chaos coming from the Oval Office. Now, look, Canada is all too realistic about the position that it finds itself in. As you say, Zane, look, this would devastate the Canadian economy. But right now, as they try to negotiate this, Canada is trying to hold firm to say, look, we don't want to meet in the middle, as Secretary Lutnick had suggested. No, we want all the tariffs removed. Now, if this afternoon they come to some agreement that we're going to exclude automobiles, that may happen. But Canada would also like a date on the table for when they can go through everything else. And in the meantime, sticking to what Justin Trudeau said yesterday, those retaliatory tariffs, they will stay on. Canada says it is not lifting anything until this is a done deal. I do want to point out, though, just talking with Manu there, I mean, look, there's a lot going on Capitol Hill, and you continue to hear even from Republican members of Congress or senators because they are hearing it. It is hurting their constituents. Does the Trump administration have a point that there are more things to be worked out with both Canada and Mexico on trade? Do they have a point on fentanyl? Absolutely. You'd be hard-pressed after this crisis, this drug addiction crisis in any country, for any politician to say that is not serious. Canada has put money, boots on the ground to try and deal with that. The Trump administration has said it's not good enough. How do you deal with that in terms of negotiation? Look, this is supposed to happen in the next couple of hours, but as I understand it, again, the word I got was things are fluid. So let's see if any deal, so-called, comes from this. But in terms of the retaliation, you cannot mobilize an army to the border and then tell everyone to retreat once you've already told them this is war. And this is what I've been saying to the two of you for weeks. Trump's language on a 51st state, and Trudeau being a governor, has stiffened spines in Canada. They have laid the table here for how this will hurt Canadians and the Canadian economy. That is something that has not happened in the United States. So let's wait and see if those carve-outs do happen this afternoon. But this will not be the last we hear about this on trade for the next several weeks.
Absolutely, and just the fact that you have various provinces in Canada essentially saying that they're not going to stock American goods, they're not going to have American goods on their shelves as a result of this trade war.
It's already done, Zane. I've seen it. I've seen it myself. They're gone.
Right.
Those products are off the shelves.
It's clear things have gotten especially personal, I think, between the U.S. president and Canada in particular. Unfortunate for all sides here. Paula Newton, thank you.